Do you feel like there's a real problem with, like, the West, for example, have a real problem with Islam and Muslims?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but talk to me from your perspective, though.
Do you know what's so hard? Go on, you start.
You do. You go.
Let me think. I need to think
Can
about
I
how I'm
say
gonna word
something?
this.
Yeah,
Go for
you
it.
two,
Go for it.
So I think there's a whole narrative against, like, the West has built for itself. Like, even from the beginning, how the West came to Africa and other countries, took what was there, came back, built upon that, and now say, look at me. I think the fact that I don't know how to describe it, but no, I've completely forgot what I said. Owning the narrative and saying, I'm the one, look at me, get like me. And I feel like Islam has the opposite kind of agenda, if you know what I'm saying. So the fact that we are not following the standard that they want us to have is a real problem for them. And I think Islamophobia is also very lucrative. Whether what you see in the news or what you see on social media, it generates business and attention, and it's just a way of keeping power where it is within the West. That's what I personally think. Anyway.
I think that's a good perspective, man. You and then
yeah, I had to.
Again, it's like, you know, people always tell me, how are you ever gonna get a job with the things that you say? But it's the whole thing of a white man just not accepting that these people are just minding their business and doing their own thing. And Islam now is one of the fastest growing religion in the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they talk about Islam, they always make it look like it's 6 of us. And, you know, there was a comedian, I don't know her name fully, Jessie something.
Jessie hilarious. Oh my God.
She is a comedian.
I saw that.
Yeah. And, you know, she got, I don't even know if she got them kicked out. They were Sikh brothers. And
she said
she was scared. She said she was scared. You know, the whole thing of, they painted a picture of who Muslims are and what Islam is. It's almost hard to keep up now because you're on the tube now and you're scared because I'm there. My bag is always big because I've got my filming stuff.
That was me today. Yeah, people were not. They were like,
they're just looking at the bag.
I had to like legit open the bag. There's my clothes in there. There's nothing in there. Like really relax.
I swear to God, but they will look at you and they look at your bag and you kind of have to open just to make sure, just show that there's a laptop in there.
My makeup's in
I
there.
spoke to a guy who told me he got a Muslim guy kicked off the plane. Because he's telling me confidently, you know, I'm looking at him like, brother, you looking at me?
With your chest.
He's telling me about, he goes, but they don't have a problem against anyone. It's just, and I'm like,
and sometimes it's like, it doesn't even go with
off the plane.
It doesn't even go with your character. Like, I'm from West London. Like, if you say hi, I will literally be giving you a hugs. I'm like, what's up? What area are you from? Like, they have this picture of who you should be, and it's like you should be scary, like, you know, maybe blowing up someone. And
Can I just say, I feel like it's really ironic, yeah. Because I remember at a point, there was like this real big conversation about radicalization and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And I think that like the way that things have been put out there, people, like these people have been radicalized. They have as well. Because for you to then think just automatically, there's a person, right?
Who's out to get me.
Yes, literally. You must have something in your... I'm scared.
Open your bag.
That's like... That is a conditioning, but also an element of radicalization as well within your... So it's really ironic that people will always point the finger at somebody like you and say that you could potentially be radicalized when ultimately their feelings and what... And you know what?
Their feelings are
do you know what? Maybe even going back to what Poet said, who do we blame?
The government.
because it's not even sometimes for some it's not even their fault. It's what they take into their subconscious.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's when
the news might even be on and you're not even watching the news, but it's within your subconscious anyway. So then you just naturally think, right, you know, if I'm on a tube and I see a man with a turban or like a hijab or something like that, this could be a big situation for me right now.
You're so, like, I'm sorry, like I can't help but say that the whole radicalization, I'm going back to the government, they came up with the legislations and like policies to make sure that young Muslim men are not radicalized and blah blah blah. But I think with extremism, what has been happening for the past few years, it works both ways. But because even New Zealand, as much as I respect the New Zealand leader, I think she killed it, how she handled everything, and respect to her. And I think leaders should learn from her how to react in those situations. But even her, she couldn't answer the question, why was this guy not in the list of extremists? They had a whole list of preventing extremism, but it was
for people who don't know what
designed
you're talking about. You're talking about you're alluding to the terrorist attack.
For those who don't know. So for me, my point is extremism works in both ways, and what world leaders and governments and politicians have been doing, they focus on one-sided, and now radicalization is the whole thing about integration as well. It works both ways. Why am I in London and I'm still telling people why I wear a headscarf? Why am I in London? I'm still telling you that over 70% of Islamophobia affects Muslim women. Let's just talk about that. Because
physically
we're the ones who are out there. Abdi ain't getting punched in the face. Farah ain't getting smashed in the face, but they're so loud, by the way. They make YouTube videos about us and how we should dress, and how that's a whole new different conversation. But for me, it's like we get it from everywhere, and we're not. You hardly see Fatima blowing herself as well. I'm not trying.
You don't.
She's hardly see female terrorists. For me, I'm not saying that men are always the terrorists, but my point is we're visible. We're out here. I'm worried that the white man might swing for me, on the tube, or a bit nervous. And my network, the stuff that I do, the stories that I hear, I don't know how they live life. Because for me, I'm quite confident. If someone's looking at me on the tube, I'm like this.
No, I do that. I do that.
Can I help you? Yeah. I make them feel so uncomfortable. But thank God, I'm confident. My mom installed that in me. I can fight for myself. If someone sticks on me in a work environment, in publics, debate, TV, take me anywhere, I'll sort myself out. But not all Muslim women will be able to confront people or have that energy and time. We have that energy to represent and make a difference, but there are a lot of Muslim women who get hit daily, and it's the media have played a big role labeling, and also they think we're all victims. And I'm so glad that you invited me today, because it's just some of us are living our lives, you know?
I was thinking about
they all think that you're so timid, you're so shy, oh my God, should I high five her or not? I'm like, you're right.
I don't know what. Yeah, it's like.
I think that also.
Do you know what? And do you know, I know you're just talking so much truth. Well, obviously because you're an honest person, but also the industry that myself and Chucky are quite predominantly in. Yeah. What I love, and I'm not gonna keep. What I love from the European people that are ignorant to what's happening. So when you go to these record labels, is the way they feel the need to communicate with you, or the way they feel they need to dress, or they feel just the way they are around you is not a representation of who they are. It's a representation of how they feel needs to happen in order to feel comfortable. They overthink the most simple thing. I'll walk up to somebody in a record label and they'll go to spud me and I've got my hand like this, and it's so awkward because it's now we're playing rock paper scissors. So I'm just trying to win. I just think it's all pathetic.
Do you think that's like a microaggression though?
Do you know what? Because I don't really care that much, it's not my problem. I just let people know. My thing is I'm just gonna let you know. You can have that trait. You can keep it. You can show it to everyone. I'm not here to tell you what to do to everyone, but I'm here to tell you how to treat me. Don't do that to me. And I think people, they just don't know how to respond to that. But I'm not gonna say to you can't. If it's a microaggression, I don't care. You're just not gonna do it to me. And that's the most important.
Everything goes back, to obviously government. But also, it's the money system. Everything's to do with money and power. That's ultimately. And
who's that with?
The government, of course. That's what I'm saying. So with Muslims, if you look, predominantly, a lot of wealth comes from Muslim countries. Yeah. So what's the best thing to do? Same with Africa, obviously. Yeah. Congo, what do they do? Okay, Congo is the number one leading country that produces the thing. I forgot what it's called, about something, whatever we need in our phones.
I know what you're talking about.
Is it lithium?
Yeah, something. I'm so crap with metals. I would be diamonds in our phone. Anyway, so whatever it is,
just hold the phone.
Yeah, literally this. Yeah. So obviously, the most logical thing to do is to mess up the money system, and in our religion. So this is where Islam. There is definitely a battle. There is a war in agendas, because we are the complete opposite of the West. We don't believe in interest. This whole world is built on interest. Yeah. We don't believe in paper money. Paper money is fraudulent for us. It's not anyone can have control over paper money. I can print something and be like, this is the new currency. In India, it's going to be valued at this, but in America, it's going to be valued at this. How is that just? And that's what they've created. That's what the system's been built on. Whereas in ancient times, it was built on gold and silver.
Yeah, of course.
You can't say my gold is different.
Like you can't. Trade as well.
Gold,
and trade as well.
And trade. Yeah, exactly. It's like grain, whatever it is you're selling. It's like it's an actual commodity that you can't put a price on it because it's already ordained. The price is already set. Whereas when the money system came in from the West with the paper money system, that's what effed up the whole world. That was their biggest way of controlling the world. Forget slavery, forget everything. It was money. It was boom. We create this system and now everyone's in debt to us because now we only trade in dollars or we only trade in, before it was in pounds. So it's like, this is where, if we go back to the root of the problem, that's where the root is. And that's why Gaddafi got licked off.
He was like,
have you watched the interview?
The system is not that bad. I get it. Like, who the hell wants to carry around 20 pounds of gold? That's heavy. So if I can write a little note and say here's 20 pounds of gold, I get why it happens, and you can just transfer.
I don't think that why was that. Do you know what? I hear that from a logical.
No, it's a note of gold.
But I don't know if that was why it was done though.
Take the £5 note. I know you're right. Hear me out. It says this is a loan, so it's a way of saying like what you said. It's not, you don't have it. It's a way of me saying, all right, cool. I can't give you £20 right now because it's too heavy. I'm going to write a note and now I have £20 for you. And in my house, I'm going to put it aside and one day I'm just in debt to you.
But then £20 plus extra fee.
Do you know what I'm coming
and that's
from?
where for us it was like, this is where it gets corrupt because we're not allowed to deal with that. And as Muslims, it's unfair. Like everyone wants to talk about human rights, equal rights, freedom of this. We're oppressed. It's not the Prophet, peace be upon him, said a famous saying was that this life is like a prisoner for the believers and a paradise for the disbelievers. And that's because for us, in order for us to practice our religion properly, we can't. So we're in prison. Like we're in jail right now. All of us, no matter how rich you are, you're still in jail. Like if we followed like an Islamic law, there would be no poverty on earth because every year we have to give 2.5% of our savings to charity. Imagine if every billionaire on earth had to give 2.5% of their savings to charity. The world will be poverty will be eliminated. Obviously, we know charity is also one of the biggest.
They're teeth as well. They're teeth as well.
That's what I'm saying.
But
it would all have to be done. That would all have to be done with a clear and conscious.
And even the givers in the UK, there was an article. One of the most givers in the entire UK were Muslims.
Yeah,
literally,
we gave £100 million in 1 month to charity.
Ramadan month,
100 million
people go gold everything because it's the whole thing of like share with what you have is our principle. Of Islam.
And what's yours is not really yours; it's given from God.
Charity doesn't decrease your wealth; it only increases it because when you understand money, literally, like what we're talking about first, like money is from God. Like there are certain things that are preordained for you, the day you're born, the day you die, and how much wealth you're gonna have to survive to keep you going on this earth. It's all like preordained. So when you already know and accept, you do what you gotta do. Obviously, you don't just chill and be like, God will provide. Obviously, you have to do what you're doing. But like when you're conscious of that, I know for a fact, if I'm a multi-millionaire and I've got my houses, I've got everything I need, and then you're sitting complaining about, I don't know, you can't pay to fix your engine. Like for me, hearing that's my responsibility now. That's how as Muslims we're supposed to be. It's like, I've been faced with a dilemma that I can solve. It's now my duty, it's my responsibility now to help you. That's just how we are. So it's like,
even though it's not directly your responsibility, but that is lit.
Charity
we put it up on our
But people also like what they tend to do as well is like dig into your religion and take things out and like almost throw it back at you as a thing of, this is a reason for why either you can't be here or for why your religion is problematic. What do you think about that though?
Say that again?
Like, so people usually will like go back to like scriptures in like little things about what happens in it and then context. Try to use it against you as a thing of, this is the reason why your religion is problematic. I guess like the question that I'm asking is, obviously for you, that's not a thing that you would believe, but like, where do you feel like, where does that sort of disconnect comes from? Like, why do people use? Why are we almost sort of conditioned to feel that like Islam is problematic because of things that happen?
I think for me, it's the whole thing of the few loud people on TV and these documentaries and these panels that they get invited to, for them they would say things like, I want to build the biggest mosque right in Birmingham, like, or somewhere in Liverpool. With you to be a Muslim, you also have to be like understanding of other faiths. In terms of what you're picking, exactly, like, let's say, or you believe that woman is this and that, but you're picking and choosing what I believe and how I act. You're not focused on the entire thing. There are now almost every Muslim person I've ever met in my life don't really care about how big the mosque is. They're worried about their rent money. Do you know? But if you look at the news, you think, oh my God, they opened a big mosque in central London. You're like, actually, you're not talking to the average Muslim, because the average Muslim's kid is worried about the kids trying to get into school or finding the nearest school. So it's the whole thing of the conversation of, you're focusing more on those who are demanding the stuff that we don't even worry about. You know, and then you're like, what's your view on the Muslim women and this and that? I'm like, listen, my rent is due tomorrow. That's not my concern right now. You know, like, I haven't been paid. So I think for us, for them, it's more of picking and choosing what Muslims want and what Muslims need. And what Muslims now want, especially for Muslim women, is stop staring at me on the tube. Chill, relax.
So what's going to happen? Do you know what? I'm thinking about this now. This is too unfair. This is actually genuinely too unfair. And the only thing I can equate it to is being a black man living in London, which Chucky can relate to as well. Like, there was things when I used to grow up, like, you hold the bag closer.
It still happens. It still happens.
Obviously, I'm not, fam, I don't even, honestly, I love the world, but I can't be in public. I take cab everywhere. I don't even want to see people all the time. But I love everyone. Like, I proper do. But it's just those problems I just can't deal with anymore, because I think it's absolutely bullshit. But in the same breath, I can't be angry with the general public, because it's like, I'm thinking of an average 9-to-5er, lives in Huddersfield, for example, been out here since, I don't know, 1970 something, doesn't really interact with much black people. 2001 happens, they see the Twin Towers disaster. That is their only experience. There's no social media really to educate people on what's really going on. So I pick up the Sun, because I bought that every single day for like my whole life. And then I pick it up, and obviously that whole thing is built on narratives and a way of controlling the nation's thinking. And then they create this whole Muslim, oh my God, if you're Muslim, you're bad. And then ignorant consumers, even maybe me at a young age, begins to be concerned, not to say I'm going to stop talking to every Muslim person, but if someone comes on a train with a big bag, do I make a joke about it at that young ignorant stage? I probably do. Does that help the situation? No. But I just feel like the media just preys on very vulnerable people who haven't got the time to think about everything, because they're too pressured about, like you said, rent and everything else. And then they become the voice of the problem, and because they are the people at the top go, well, this community here has said they don't like all of it, because they have, that community hasn't even taken the time out to think about the Muslim community, what they're going through. They're just seeing, well, don't come to my country and blow this up.
Can I just say this as well? Like, I've got all of these different thoughts in my head. I'm going to try to articulate in the best way that I could possibly can.
Really amazing.
But like, what I feel is that, like, obviously there's a saying where they say that people don't look for information, they look for confirmation. So they look for a thing that is gonna confirm whatever it is that they believe in. And I think that, like, there's almost like a war on how people interpret things. Like, I still believe, for example, like, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Do you get what I'm saying? A knife doesn't kill people, people stab people. Do you get what I'm saying? But also, like, how you might read something and how you interpret it could be very different to how I would read something, and sometimes something.
No, I hear that.
Well, so let me just finish. Let me land, because, like, just so make it, because I might be making a completely different point. But, like, what I feel I see happening sometimes, like, especially in the media, I see a thing that leads more to confirmation. So what you said was, they almost create a narrative of, this is how these people think and this is what these people do. Then what they do is they take a line or a part of something within a scripture and use that as confirmation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Horrible. Horrible, Chucky.
No, but do you know what you were saying as well, Poe, though? You see, like, as much as the whole information thing, whatever, in the media, I feel like now there's no more excuses. Like, I don't look at what Europeans have done and think they're all devils. No,
of course
because
not.
So the same way, I'm sorry, like if I don't have that attitude, why should you have the attitude that, because the media keeps saying Muslims are bad, so I have to, it's not my fault, I'm ignorant.
Well then, like, how old are you?
26.
So you're 26, you've grown up in the internet era, you have the knowledge and the know-how to say Google.
They don't
like if I'm 50 years old, cuz, and I'm concerned about my
Facebook.
you've even got time to be thinking about Facebook, and I blocked my mum on Facebook. It's true like it, cuz.
Old people that use Facebook is funny.
They don't, but the older generation still exists. The older generation is still here. It's the reason why Chucky has blooded in me to cut down using the N-word, because there's a generation of people that have grown up with it in hip-hop culture, but there's another generation that are getting their ass fucking kicked for it in the 70s. So for me to now just rule out them and be like, well, it's just mad, like, it's sad, I can't do that. So it's just fucked. But I'm just thinking, what can the Muslim community do to stop this? Because do you know what? It had to stop for black people.
I don't think.
Why do I have to do it?
No, you don't know. But do you know, why should you have to do it? Because do you know what the saddest thing about the situation is? I hear you, but do you know why I had to be the voice? When it comes to like things like Raheem Sterling, you can go to my social media. I've been talking about this since 2014 about racism in football. I didn't do it because of social trend. I want on this kick it out of racism football thing. I just don't like people getting bullied, fam. And I saw the Raheem Sterling thing before everyone, and everyone was saying to me, you can ask Chucky. I spoke about it on a podcast everywhere. And the reason why I was going to fight that good fight and I didn't give a damn what happened is because nobody else is doing it, but I'm feeling the effects of it. Because every time you fucking look at Raheem Sterling like a prick, you look at me as like a prick. So do you know what? Cool. Since me and Raheem Sterling are the same thing, I'm a fucking stand up for him. And I didn't know him. I didn't have a relationship with him. I'd met him once because of an interview, but I felt like someone has to be the voice and someone's got to take the bullet. And I didn't give a shit about taking the bullet. And do you know what the sickest thing is? He put a gun tattoo on his leg, and that was the reason why this whole thing is dead now. Because the moment that you had people that were from, like I said, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds who have a very, very silly way of thinking because of the era they grew up in. You see Liam Nelson coming out and talking about the things that he done back in the day, which was wrong. But the fact that he's basically probably coming out now and saying I was wrong for doing that, it lets you know that was probably wider thinking from so much people.
It's like when people are pulling tweets from when they say like, "Oh, you faggot,"
it's
or whatever, as a
bollocks.
joke,
Do you understand where I'm
and it's like
coming
you're pulling it back. Then it was acceptable. It was deemed acceptable to throw around words, and today it's obviously it's no longer. So if people apologize, how can you still punish them?
So my point is this. Though. The Muslim community, I'm not saying they have to sit down and think about something, but it's so sad that I'm sitting down thinking what can happen before people just sit down and look at themselves and say I'm the problem, because that's what the Raheem Sterling thing happened. That I walked into a fucking conference at BT, bro. I was furious. I've walked into this conference that they've invited me to, and I'm seeing a guy from The Sun discredit Raheem Sterling for having a gun tattoo on his leg in front of 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And this guy's a 50-something plus year old man. And then they wanted me to be quiet. BT had to say to me, no, can you? Because I walked out. I screamed. I went mad. I didn't scream. But I told the guy, like, bruv, you're a big fucking man in front of a younger audience. And instead of you speaking on something that you know, you're speaking ignorantly. You're not in your room by yourself typing an article now. You're not on Twitter. You're in front of humans. You have a responsibility. I can give a blie on the Twitter. I'll give a blie there. But because in real life, you're telling these people, my man's wrong for having a gun tattoo, but there's footballers with gun tattoos, knife tattoos, all sorts.
So dumb.
But now, look what's happened. No one cusses Raheem Sterling no more. Because the moment that conversation started, now let's have a conversation with people like me. Now let's have a conversation with people like Chucky. And then now, I'm telling you, I can't even remember the last time I saw a problem with Raheem Sterling in the press.
Now they eased up.
They can't do
I
that.
get what you're saying, but I feel like, there are people who within our community who are doing that.
Yeah,
but
that's
sometimes
me.
it is just very exhausting. Having to constantly explain your humanity to other people.
My babe, I totally know that, but you know what?
I know.
Imagine the problem I don't know fully, but I would imagine a problem definitely started for the Muslim community from that 2001. Like, cause
for me, I do it humor. Like, I use humor to like. Because for me, I'm quite outspoken.
Yeah, that's it.
So what I do is with my page, I make a video. Like, I was mistaken for, like, let's say the cleaner. I think was more my race than my faith. Yeah. So the lady, I'm not gonna name the publication. It was a huge media publication, and I was pitching a documentary to them. I went to the toilet. I was wearing all black that day. Couldn't be asked. Probably looked like the auntie in the cleaning from the cleaning section. I love the aunties. By the way, the cleaners are the best in every company. The cleaners are the funniest, the most like real people you can encounter with. So she saw like a little spillage like on the floor, and she looked at me. She looked at the floor, and she's like, "Excuse me, And then she had to stop because I had like a little tag that said my name. And obviously, if you work for that company, you don't need a little tag. Like, you probably have the professional one, or they have a uniform stuff. And then she realized, and it was really awkward for her. She had to leave the room. And my lecturer was so angry. She's like, how can she mistake you for the cleaner? Like, I'm trying to bring people to picture documentary. For me, I just laughed about it, you know. I made a video about it, and then they wrote an email and all of that stuff. So for me personally, these things happen. I encounter these stuff, and the way I deal with it is I create space. I organize events. I go to every protest you can think of. When there's an issue, and when the brothers are sticking on about football racism, I made a lot of videos about that as well. So for me, my fight is not just for Muslim women. It's not just for black women. My fight is for everybody. You come for anyone, I'm there.
No, do you know what?
I've got a point.
I've
got a point.
I've got a point. That just, sorry to cut you, because it's just that because do you know what it is? I can't come forward and be a spokesperson for a Muslim community because I'm not Muslim. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But I could be a spokesperson for a young black boy that's Jamaican. And loads of other people could. And now, like I said, that situation between black people and racism is slightly getting put to bed. And anytime anything comes out, man, no one's lying no more. In this, everyone's still lying, and I'm just like,
it's a big catch-22 though. I tell you why I think it's a big catch-22, because there are obviously spokespeople, but I think going by like what we mention a lot is when you look at like the law of averages in percentage wise, okay, I don't know the percentages of how much Muslims there are in this country or whatever, but when you look at the small individual, the minority of people that run the media, for example, they have such a big voice to all of the people who, as you've mentioned before, people that live in Leeds, Huddersfield, and all of these areas, that this is just what they see. So what happens is you as spokespeople can come out and have these type of conversations. We can do it on the podcast. We can reach all of these different types of people. We could keep doing this, and the message could be trickling in a little bit. But remember, people don't necessarily seek information; they seek confirmation. So the moment that somebody goes out and blows themselves up, that is the confirmation that they need again for them to say, do you know what? Nah, I ain't fucking with you lot because of X, Y.
Chucky, can I say this then? To counter argue it, because then that makes complete sense, because then that means in that theory, if without Raheem Sterling, this narrative about young black boys would probably still continue. I mean, I don't know how much people have been watching football as of recent.
Well, just to say this, if one of Raheem Sterling's brethrens goes, let's just say hypothetically, or someone that he knows shoots somebody, that will be the confirmation that these people needed to know about that gun on his tattoo.
But hear me out.
I mean, the tattoo on his leg.
I hear you, but I think that is put to bed now. I'm talking about Marcus Rashford. Scored 2 goals in a European game on a weekend. You're talking about a young black male from Manchester, 18 years old, scoring 2 goals against Arsenal on his first league game, and then a week later the Sun puts out a story saying Marcus Rashford's cousin shooter. Like, bro, like what? What's that got to do with what this young man? And that's what I'm trying to say to you. That doesn't happen now. They're done with that. They are completely
okay. But do you know what they're doing now, though? Do you know what they're doing now, though? I'll tell you what they're doing now, though. Is look at and this is mad to me, because I think. It's like it's so not even undercover anymore. It's so horrible. It's so in your face that elements of it is funny, right? So, the terrorist thing, for example. As soon as something happens, boom, the pictures they put up and all of that, of the big capital letters and all of these bold letters, italic, everything. Then obviously my man does the mad thing in New Zealand. All of a sudden, there's only like one capital letter.
How is this?
My man's he's holding his U. He's holding his U and all of these type of things, And like, this is for people who just.
Wait, was that his child he was holding?
No, that was him as a kid.
That was him as a child.
Can I just say, do you not think that this guy was playing so much Call of Duty before he went out and did the thing? Like, if you see have you seen the film?
Yes,
if you see the film, this guy, he's put the camera in the part where it's like where you would see it if you were playing a game. He's like doing boom, like you don't know this shit unless you've ever been in the military or you've been flipping banging out Call of Duty.
No, you wouldn't even know if you've been banging out Call of Duty. That is a man that is very I watched the video because I don't know. I was like, Paul, I need you to watch something and not be emotionally attached to it, and you have to learn to. Because I'm too angry on this podcast sometimes because of stuff like that. I'm furious, and then I'll go outside and be called a racist and all that. I'm just like, what the hell? I'm the racist.
But this world is mad.
But it was crazy. But after watching it, what I saw was a psychotic, and I mean psychotic, insensitive, the most horrible human being I think I've ever witnessed in terms of a visual, because I don't usually watch these things. And I said to myself, this problem in his mind is so more deep rooted than an issue with a Muslim community. Like, this is bad.
So the one element of it is radicalization.
You know, forget about someone doing something for religious beliefs or extreme religious beliefs. This man is just fucked up. Yeah, he's just horribly fucked up. So then when I see the article, and they're showing him as a little boy, and
they said angel.
What?
The same,
the little angel who grew up to be a whatever. Do you know what else makes me sick? Yeah, just like, okay, aside from all of that as well, but like the things that we're not hearing about that are insane, like in China. Do you know what they're doing to Muslims in China?
Go on.
Oh my God, have you seen that? Yeah. They've got like a whole like concentration camp regime where they're trying to exterminate religion from these Muslims. So they have got Muslim women getting forced to marry because we're not allowed to marry non-Muslim men, forcing them to marry non-Muslim Chinese men. You've got Muslim women during Ramadan and men as well being forced to eat, like it's a camp. I was like to my mum, this sounds so ridiculous. I'm like, just turn around and say I'm not on it. She's like, Maria, watch the video. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
they give them pork as well.
They're putting pork in their food. Because they got their camp. You're gonna die if you don't eat. They're forcing them to drink alcohol with their meals. Like, they're literally, it's a camp. They're trying to eradicate religion. Same with the Rohingya people in Myanmar. Same thing. It's like, how is this stuff not being documented? Like, people are getting their arms and legs chopped off like cash, and this type of stuff's not documented. That's why when this video came out, when things like that happen, I know it's in the West, so that could be a reason to why it was, in the media. But at the same time, I'm like, nah, because the way he was so professional, I'm like, this feels set up. The same way 9/11 set up. Like, I just don't.
What's their gun laws? Do they have gun laws?
In New Zealand?
But can I say something as well about gun laws? I'm putting it out. How can you take away my right to protect myself? That's a human right. I believe, like, I know this sounds mad, maybe in places, cosmopolitan cities like London, you don't need it because you got people that are hired and to look after you, to protect you. So like, maybe not in these cities, but when I remember speaking to another cab driver when I was in Wisconsin in America, and Wisconsin is like super country, and he was just like, what do you think about gun laws? And I was like, oh shit, I gotta be wording myself carefully before you crash in my Uber. So I was like, I mean, I'm pretty open-minded, I understand some people need a gun, some people don't. And he goes, because think about it, put yourself in my shoes. He goes, I live in a small town. Like, the sheriff is 45-minute drive away. If there's a psycho with a chainsaw coming to kill my family, and I'm not allowed to have a gun, what, do I just die? Do I just roll over and die? He goes, there needs to be, he was obviously a Trump supporter as well, just to put it out there. But he was like, there needs to be accessibility to guns.
I got something on that.
That is horrible.
That
is actually horrible.
And I agree with him.
hate guns, fam.
Yeah, what was you going to say? Calum,
you hate guns?
Is it? Wait 1 second. One second.
I think I'm on your side.
Gun licenses are just issued at the discretion of the police. That's it.
Okay, fair.
So
because I don't want to, because that's a big conversation, and maybe you can come.
That's what I'm saying. Cosmopolitan.
But what I will say is on that is I'm conflicted on that only because I think that, again, like, it's not the gun, it's just people, and I think people they're like one person. We see this every day in our life, even when we go, like, let's use the example of the media. The media, as a whole, when you think about it, is just it's a pretty small company dealing with or writing these articles, which is affecting millions and millions of people. So one person with a gun or a small minority of people can affect so many different people with that. And that's why I have an issue, because even when you got the fucking my man in New Zealand or whatever, it's one man with one gun, but how many lives?
But do you see what I'm saying? But the reason why I say gun laws, because we keep saying there shouldn't be gun laws, but they still manage to get hold of it.
I know.
So what's the solution?
Exactly.
We keep saying we're going to make it even more tighter. They're still going to get hold of it. So it's like, for me,
I always think when you go to, like, there's these countries that are mad, like, straps are mad expensive. They're not cheap, You go to certain places, certain poor countries where they don't have much, but there's bare straps. Bare straps. Why is that? Where are they coming from?
Because they're being
the UK government sells a lot of guns.
Like, we can't have guns. We can't have.
That's a conversation.
I know it's a conversation.
It's either you ban gun completely.
The only thing that I just want to say it because I'm sitting on this podcast and I'm a dad fan. And let me tell you something. As a real, like, on some real shit now, as a man, knowing that I'm bringing my kids into this world, you become a little bit more. You just have a lot more awareness, and obviously the Muslim community directly, because my kids are called Brizit, Overtani Brizit. So it's like I'm going to now invest myself and enlighten myself and make myself more aware. And the reason why I do not want this podcast to push the narrative of guns is what Chucky just said, fam. One gun killed 49 innocent people.
Yeah.
If everybody has a gun,
what
type of message are we sending? Listen, I know the purpose of having... You're meant to wear a cap like this to protect you from the sun. No one does that. So there's no point of me now giving you something on a simple format as a cap and then say, here's a gun and make sure you only use it to protect yourself. Because if that's the case, then no one needs a gun. Because no one's going to attack someone until someone attacks them. So now the moment I'm giving you a gun, no matter what I'm saying, I'm giving a person a responsibility of playing God to a certain extent.
Well, do you know, it's not the message though for me. It's just how people can be conditioned and programmed. That is more the issue for me.
No, but because you heard what I just said. I just said to you, you're meant to wear a cap to protect you from the sun. So no matter what I tell the boys, no matter what I say to you about me giving you the gun and what you should do with it, at the end of the day, I'm not surveilling this person for 24 hours.
But then my point is, then there needs to be there should be no such thing as guns anymore.
But
because you can't have, it's not, for me, I'm all about justice. I don't care what colour you are, I don't care what religion you are, it's just justice. It is not fair for some people to have accessibility to something that can take away 49 people's lives and other people to not be able to have that accessibility. It doesn't make sense. It has to be fair. Or someone like that man who literally said, I live in a town where if someone's crazy, we're all dying.
Do you want me to give you the realist? Let me give you the realist. And this is not even I shouldn't say this. Everyone's got access to a gun. That's the realist. And that's the most honest and horrible thing I can say.
Everyone has really got access, but more people are likely to get stopped
everyone has access to a gun. No one's just got the heart to use it. That guy's got the heart. Well, I shouldn't even call it heart. It's disgusting to go and kill 49 people. I haven't got that in me, my G. You can give me the gun. I ain't got that in me. But if I wanted a gun right now... Fam, it wouldn't be impossible to get one. And that's the that's the harsh reality. But it's a separate conversation.
We can talk about that for ages. We ain't got that much time. But I did want to ask you, what was you lot's what's your lot's opinion on Shamima Begum?
Shamima Begum.
Shamima Begum. Shamima, that's the one. Sorry, I've got it written down. I don't know why.
What do you want to say?
Go into it. Do you know what? Yeah, so we had a conversation about it before, or whatever. And it was a funny one, isn't it? Because I think that I was very conflicted on the whole situation. Yeah, I watched the documentary again. I'm a proper documentary guy, by the way. If you want some documentaries, you know what I mean. But I was watching a documentary about a lot of people that had been in her situation that had gone away under the circumstances that she, or the reasonings for why she went away or whatever, and now we're trying to go back home or whatnot. Yeah. And then, on a human level, I'm kind of on the vibe of, well, remember I was saying, well, they can't just make her stateless. Legally, they have to bring her back and all of these things because she was born here, blah, 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 blah. She's got a child and, she was a kid. Do you know what I mean? I've made maybe not decisions like that when I was a child, but I did some mad things when I was a kid that I would definitely not do as an adult, yeah? So, just on the basis of that, she just has to come back. But then there's the other side of me that was kind of on a vibe of, you know what? She could be a bit dangerous. Obviously, she went over there, shit hit the fan. She did it when it was time for her to be on camera and whatever, I would have thought that she would have had the smarts to at least know, okay, even if I don't even fuck with these lot and I don't even want to be, I have to come back because it's dangerous, I'm going to die and I've got my kids or whatever. Let me just play up to the camera and just so that people can sympathise with me, which she didn't really do none of that, which then made me think, you know what, she might come back here and then it might just be a big passer. Do you get me? She might grow the youth now to think a certain way and then it could be a big problem. To this day, I remember obviously they put in the news that her child had then died. And then they weren't letting her come back, which I was really surprised about because, I wasn't surprised when they said that she was half. Where else was she from? Her mum was from one country, or dad was from a different country, or whatever. So she was able to seek asylum or citizenship somewhere else. So she wouldn't have legally been stateless. She could go somewhere else. She'd be okay. But I just the whole situation was a bit mad. What was your perspective of it? What did you think? Do
you know what? Initially, before I heard her interview, whatever, I thought this is dread because she's a kid. You're gonna punish a child, someone who made a decision as a young person, as a foolish decision. And because I know if that was your own people, you probably wouldn't punish them. You would let them come back and we're going to help and support them. They got mental, the same way you do that with pedophiles and everyone else. I would have thought like you would have had that same attitude. But because she was just moving so like, this is life, normal, that's what made me feel like either you actually need to come back and get actual mental help because I don't know what you're on, or because it's just her attitude wasn't. I wasn't.
Had she of been of different heritage?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely, they would have brought back. But she was just too entitled. That's what I didn't like. I didn't like her entitlement. But where it's like, I did this, so what? I killed a few people, whatever. And now you should let me in because I didn't like the entitlement. It's like, no.
London,
yeah. Do you know what it was like? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you know what it was like? It was like her man had said to her, listen, obviously shit's hit the fan. It didn't work out that well, yeah. But this is what's going to happen, yeah. Don't worry, they have to let you back. All you got to do, you're a British citizen, so don't worry, it's all patterned up.
It's all
she's
in my rights
thinking,
to come back.
Yeah, don't worry, like you have to let me back.
That's all it was, her attitude.
So she didn't care. So she was just there like that.
She was moving like.
No, I watched it, but I was just I was watching it, and I don't know anything. I'm just looking at it like I don't know her backstory. I don't really know anything. I just saw a girl was just like, she doesn't really seem to care. I wonder why.
There's a lot of victims. The thing is that I work for a charity who specialises in domestic violence and just abuse in general. So we did a lot of training on identifying victims and also identifying body language in sense of like how that person is, and also like the lack of remorse and just being numb about it. Yeah, there was a lot of that. Like for me personally, I don't agree what she did. Like, but I look at things from a bigger picture, which is. This whole thing of taking a passport away from someone who is a British citizen is really dangerous move. I think it starts a whole new argument of minorities again never being belonging. It's a Trump move. Being here. Never. Don't ever tell me you're from here when you can just change your mind when you feel like it. I think. Wait. Let me finish. I'm speaking for some people, man. I think for me personally, the way I see it is when you commit such thing, you have to face the law just like everyone else. Whatever the extreme law thing is, I believe in facing the law, whichever country that you're from. For me, I can't speak too much of this because my parents were asylum seekers. They didn't bring me here for me to move mad like that. Okay, but like with her case, I think it's completely different. Yeah. And also the way she's talking, everyone is going on about she didn't fake it. People were saying like, oh, why didn't she just fake it? Why didn't she? What is that? Does that make you feel better then? Either way, I feel like with her, if it's not sincere, then it's not sincere. And there's something deeper thing that happened to her for her not to even care and not to play the role of like, why didn't she act up? All the people who had common sense were like, why you not just act up and come back? The girl is broken. Like she's not in a good condition. For me, I don't really care whether they let her in or out. I don't really care. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I care about how Muslim women are represented in the media in terms of how they use this case and pictured her everywhere, which discredits the work that Maria's doing, the work that I do, the work that.
But then do you know what? This is I can't
go. And the media, the government, I can't blame the government. The media, it's the people, and they love the idea of seeing Muslim women as a villain. They played that perfectly in the media, and in my opinion, it's a bigger picture of whether she came in. It's one individual. Do you know how many people are sent back from the UK government in the space of 2-3 years? A lot, under our government. So for me, it's not about the case. It's how this woman now is a girl with the hijab, looking vulnerable. She's a terrorist now. Now I have to worry about what's going to happen to me because how people are thinking, whatever. So again, for me personally, I disagree with how the media ran with it, A. And B, again, I told you, I don't give a shit about her because there's a lot of people who suffered in Syria. A lot of people that died. Syrians died, whatever. So for me, I really don't care. The only thing I care about is playing the law when it suits you. You remove when it suits you. You know, there's a lot of white people. You can't
pick and choose.
White people have committed a crime and ran away. And then what the government has done was they asked for that government to send them back so they can face the law. Yeah. So what's up?
And the thing is, this is all I was going to say about that situation. And I have to stick to it. Yeah. This is how I feel about England. Yeah. And I'm sorry to upset people again. This ain't my country. This is nothing to do with me. Yeah. I was brought here, well, my family was brought here more or less against their will, madman, because of the circumstances that be in that country and whatever that is. So right now, this ain't my rules. This is their rules. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not, because That's what it is, fam. I'm the minority here.
But also
so what I say is this: I like to build strength within my community. I'm not saying you're gonna save everyone, but I want to build strength within my community to try and prevent situations like that happening. Because when it happens, this is gonna happen, and I can't be like. It's like for me, for example, there's a guy in my end. Yeah, I'm not saying he's right, but if you go into his bedroom in his yard and the door's always open, you could just go there to get your football. He goes sick. So now, I'm never going to go inside that bedroom and then suffer the consequences and say, bro, I'm just in your bedroom, because I know by going in your bedroom what happens. And I'm saying it's a really simple situation, and I understand this one's more complex. But when somebody comes and openly says, I joined ISIS, and there's a bag of ignorant people like me that don't really know much about ISIS but hasn't heard too much good things, it's not something I want to join tomorrow. If this girl comes back and I'm pushing my little Zion and Khalifa, and she goes, hi, and she's my neighbour. Cuz, you think I'm going to be like, yeah, cuz, what we saying? Come around, cuz. I'm not. I'm going to be like, big man, you joined a group of people to come and make where I'm living uncomfortable, and it's already uncomfortable, and now you're just back out here. We're neighbours.
What I will say is,
and I'm not saying it's right or wrong for me to... Maybe I'm wrong to think like this, but I'm just saying... I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, so I feel like my view
I would feel uncomfortable.
is just as important as
I think though, on that, I think on that there is an argument to say that if she was to come back, at being a British citizen, she should have to face
whatever
that law is, even if it means they sentence her to 25 years IPP, which means which means they let you out when they're ready to let you out. You see, we're different to America. America will put you in jail. They will tell you you're going in jail for 125 years. Here, what they do is, because of human rights and all of that, they say 25 years is life, but IPP, which then means that you're not getting out in 25 years. We'll deal with you when exactly. So she might have all had to face that and spend 60 years in jail, and so it got. You get me?
Well, that's made it. She made her actions.
I ain't coming back then if I'm coming back to jail.
What's that?
What? Man, I'm going to Jamaica. I'm going to be chilling.
But you know what though?
That's not our country as well.
But you know what though? But you know what? Compared to what she was doing and what was happening over there and how that shit was crumbling, jail might have been lit for her. Because I'm seeing man in jail with flipping D&G slippers.
Yeah, but big man, their man didn't join ISIS.
Her jail time ain't going to be
but
like
what I'm saying is
definitely not.
Yeah. She's
better off to join Bangladesh.
The fact that you can identify some problems, things like this. I read this book by Russell Brand. It's a new book as well, and it's about treating situations like this like an illness. And like, if she's clearly ill and she's numb to saying these things because of the way she's been treated like a person, then clearly she doesn't love herself. And I'm not saying I'll be prepared to do this, because big man, I got things to do. But I reckon somebody should actually take the time, if they really care about bringing her back in the country, you should get someone to go over her and actually help her out, like just mentally, because mentally clearly she's in a bad place. And if you can get her to a mental state where she can again be in a good space so she can operate like a good human being.
It's called rehabilitation.
Yeah, rehabilitation. I'm not against that, right?
Because that's what I thought when I first heard about the Shamima Begum. Because when I first heard about the Bethnal Green girls who had gone to Syria, I think I must have been in secondary school. So I'm 20 now. So, you know. But when I first heard... the first time I heard this Shamima Begum thing come back again was on social media, when the memes started coming out. Like, I'm not meant to laugh, but I saw people started making Shamima Begum accounts, and every time a meme would come up, they'll be like, they'll have something like rude to say, but I would be laughing, and it's not funny, but it's not. But I was really, I'm not gonna lie, I was creasing, tears in my eyes, everything. But when I heard about how they're not gonna bring her back, I thought I don't think we should necessarily be making memes about her, but we have to understand what happened. Like, she left when she was 15. She was probably sold dreams, like dreams.
What are they called? Jihadi John? What are they called?
Jihadi John.
Lovers, something like that. They come in and woo the girls.
And I thought, at 15, you may not know her home situation.
I was gonna, the home.
You don't know if what it would be like, whether she's getting attention there. But anyway, as a 15-year-old girl, whether you're Muslim or not, if you get attention from some sort of person who's older than you, or even a man, because there's gender dynamics within that, you're gonna think, wow, he actually, he cares. So she goes over to Syria, blah blah. Is she 19 now, something like that?
Yeah, 19.
Those 4 years, I feel like, are very vital in like your development.
Definitely.
And I thought, you've spent your 4 years of your life seeing that. And I thought, well, my first feeling was sympathy. Like, she should come back because she is a British citizen.
Yeah,
but she should also do time because this is your bed. You have to lay in it.
I agree.
But at the same time, we can't just cast her off because I also think of this as like a kind of R. Kelly situation. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like,
oh, okay, I get you.
You get what like the power, like the dynamics. How she must have thought this was the best thing for her.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that we need to kind of be more sensitive to the situation. Joining a terrorist group, don't do it. Don't do it.
I get you. Like, just to simplify it for people to understand it even on a better sense. Some people might understand this. You ever remember like being in school and there was that girl, in year 11 that was going out with a 21-year-old or the 22-year-old, and he had the car. My man had the car and all of this. I couldn't start, and he would just park up at the school gates and that with his man then and that, picking her up or whatever. But naturally, you would look up to that person and think, like you'd be impressed. Like that person is impressionable to you because they are.
Man was in McDonald's and high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Great song, him and Sparkle.
Do you know what though?
Oh my god,
do you know what though? Seriously, thank you for coming. Like, this was a really good
conversation.
That was a very good conversation. Some real strong women, man. I love that. Still. Thanks again. Are we gonna take a picture?
I remember I was watching your video on Slow Jam.
Oh, we need to take a picture, so don't leave just yet. But go on. Do you want to talk about this one thing?
And I felt a bit offended. I really did.
Go on.
Because I know the music scene, like the music we listen to now is different. As someone speaking like as a 20-year-old, you had this kind of question: do younger people really listen to Slow Jam? Slow Jam's is the only thing on my phone.
Oh, okay. Tell me a slow jam you listen to.
Okay. Okay.
Give me
I could
one.
go Usher. I could go a bit further.
Okay.
I could say The Gap.
Okay.
I could also who did that? I have Bill Withers. Like.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Boy.
I'm telling you, I'm different.
Yeah.
I'm very different. Like. There are people out here my age, 20, who are out here going back in time. We're not going forward.
Okay.
I just had to say that.
Alright, sorry. I'll tell you now, I stand corrected.
Please.
Alright.
When I tell you.
There's some real good slow jams out there at the moment. Actually, and just with that being said, you lot should check out Etta Bond's album, by the way. Hey, it's really good, you know.
What did you say?
And I know you've been listen, Poet's been championing Etta Bond from the first day we started this podcast. I gotta give it to him. But I was listening to the album the other day. She's got a really good album out, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it to a thingy.
I've got that one as well. Yeah, please. Alright, thanks for listening, everyone, yeah?